Hey everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to Bozmos2, where we are playing Chaco. It is turn 28. Let's jump into things. Alright. We've received 30 air gems from Arithia in trade. We have completed Alteration 2 on our way up to Alteration 3. Did some site searching in Zox. Found nothing. And then we actually get to witness quite a few little battles here. So let's take a look at some things, shall we? We've got a battle between Niefelheim and Naba. And this is a couple of raiders and some Nephil giants. Scary, scary Nephil giants. And a Nephil Jarl. They've got such cool models now. I do honestly like... a part of me misses the old models, but these models are cooler, more detailed, but I also still like the old models as well, right? I like both models, you know? But these are fucking badass. So, we got them up against... Whoop. Okay. 2 scouts and a Jin warrior that's already broken. Yarr. Alright, well, that's going to be pretty much a done deal, but we will get to see what Nephil's bless is. So, we've got a bless of Shock 10, Fire 10, Regeneration, and Map Speed 6. So, actually, a pretty interesting little bless there. The Shock 10, Fire 10, Regeneration, you know, that's pretty normal, that's pretty typical. The Map 6, Map Speed 6 is pretty interesting. Helps his Jarls maneuver around, right? Because they're gonna have snow move, so they're unhindered by his cold dominion. But even then, they're not especially fast. But with map speed 6, that's actually they're pretty quick. So that's cool. That's actually an pretty interesting thing. So that's pretty much all we can see there. Battle between Urmor and Finoscandia in Agonor. Okay, so this is a small army of Urmors versus just PD, basically. So nothing doing here, no big upsets, no craziness. Pretty cool. Easy peasy. Battle there. Then we have a battle in We get to watch from Lemuria attacking Oof. This is a pretty big Lemurian army. That is a lot of ghosties. We've got some Shadow Tribunes in here. We've got some consuls. Consuls are badass. Got some Shadow Tribunes back here. Shadow Soldiers. Nothing crazy. I hope Ur's got a sizable army prepared for this. They do not. Oof. And I'm feeling more justified in my decision on not attacking the undead triumvirate. I'm gonna die to them anyway, so this you know, a very, very thin leg to stand on. But it looks like is on the way out soon, so. Anyways, let's see how this goes. So does have 3 Mushushus here. I don't see a caster to bless them though, so either they don't have a bless, in which case I wouldn't even bother spending the gold for them. Or he put them out here without an individual to bless them, in which case that's kind of seems a little silly to me. But I mean, they'll hold up for a while. But they're not going to do especially well against the ghosts without something like magic weapons, right? They'll kill a couple because of their sheer damage and multiple attacks, I suppose. Oof. I think this is the most you can muster for the defense of your capital, then things are not going well. Not going well indeed. Alright. So that is... yeah, that's tough. 1 Velite, 1 Lictor, and 5 Hastades. Let's check that battle real quick and see if we see Lemuria's Bless, which I think we've already seen before. Yeah, we have. Penetration, Undead Regeneration, and Farcaster. So, pretty interesting. Does actually make their lemurs a little interesting. Alright, anyways, that's that. Good battle. Done. Then we have a fight in Ossuary versus Kangobia and Old Man. Alright, and Kangobia is over here with some raiders. Blesses them up. Got magic weapons, shock resistance, defense skill, reinvigoration, blood surge, combat speed, generalized rainbow bless versus just PD. Got an elephant. Okay, let's see how they do. They're gonna chop this elephant to hell and back. This dragon tooth spear, it hits pretty damn hard. With an additional bite, yeah, they should have no issues. Well, that one's kind of out in the open. Oh, he doesn't go down. They have pretty high defense. They're kind of like elves, honestly. Elves. Yeah, they're kind of like elves, to be honest. Ah, so it actually did lose a couple of riders, but these guys, man, that type of stuff annoys me. Have units where, oh, the rider died, but the mount doesn't die. That's some cheap ass shit. Especially when you're like, yeah, if you what do we see? Will continue to fight after the rider dies, but will not attune themselves to a new rider as the bond is permanent. Okay, so that's interesting. But I don't know that this is a huge negative. They remain sacred. Yeah. They remain sacred. They gain a claw attack. It's not as good, but it's honestly not that bad. Kind of interesting. Seems strong. Can close that. Battle. Yeah. Okay. So those were the battles. Interesting stuff. We have unexpected events in Temiglia. Magical bird of wondrous colors found. We've got fire, air, water, and earth. Cool. Black Alps. A demon has possessed a herd of swine and ravaged the province for a week. Increased misfortune and unrest. The necromancer continues. And we found a scout of inns down in the old wood. Okay. What are we doing this turn? Well, this is the last turn before war begins. And we can see that Ind has... they've moved. So they have moved off of their fort in Ashington towards the border of Smacia. So this is actually kind of interesting. It's possible that they don't hit Smacia, right? There's a very large army there, so maybe they're just gonna go raiding. Or maybe he's just gonna look to open hostilities immediately. If that is the case, that's interesting. It's my intention, we talked about this previously, we're gonna take this slow. We're gonna slow roll this war, at least initially. It is my understanding that Atlantis fully intends to begin attacking Ind shortly. And even if they even if they don't, I have no real reason to rush into combat with End. Better for me to try to take advantageous battles and have those battles be in my territory, win the battles, and then move on his forts before he has an option to do. So, potentially he will attack in Smacia. He could reinforce into Verdant Steppes. He could attack into Traban. Plenty of different options, etc. So not super concerned yet. We're not going to patrol to meet him. We're just going to continue to research and hold. Primarily because doing that gives us enough research to hit Alteration 3, which is another breakpoint for us. Alteration 3 allows us to do Iron Skin on our God and on our Wuyas, which is going to be a very large amount of protection for them. It's also going to allow us to do Moss Body on one particular Wuya, which is going to be a whole lot of safety. That Wuya is probably going to be one of our go-to raiders. And this, now that we actually have Jade Sorceresses, we can actually, in the near future, if we get a couple of them out, we can actually start fluffing with Moss Body, which would be pretty cool. So that's something to consider. It also gets us Vision Quest, which once this isn't something that we're super interested in right now, but eventually, if we last into the mid game, then this will be a very useful spell for producing Povosquas. What we'll probably do is we'll have a whole territory or a whole province where Povosquas are being produced. They will lose, and then we'll go through a cycle of them doing Vision Quest and then Vision Trances. Losing their research penalty, gaining Master Ritualist, and then gaining Fortune Teller. We have to do magic resist gear on them, so what we do is an Amulet of Magic Resistance, an Amulet... what's the other one? There's the Lodestone one. This one. Lodestone Amulet. So, Lodestone Amulet, Amulet of Magic Resist, something like a Crown of Lead, and something like a Lead Shield, right? Very easy way to go for, what is that, +5, +2, so that's +7, and then the other one is +4, so that's +11 MR. So we can take a Povosqua up to Magic Resistance, holy shit. Up to 25 MR, which is pretty good. That means we're very likely to survive the Vision Quest and Vision Trance, which is good, right? Anyways, that's later on down the road. There's not really a point for me to talk about it at the moment, but it's pretty cool. Vision Trance gets us increased base paths. I say increased base paths. I wish, you know what this, to be really strong, what this should be doing is this should just be flat adding F1, A1, E1, and N1. Not an E2, and not a increased to these if it's lower. No, just do a flat +1 fire, +1 air, +1 earth, +1 nature. And then your Povosqua's randoms really matter, right? So... getting a Povosqua who has, air and earth is cool because now they're air to earth 2, right? Getting that super rare double air Povosqua, holy shit! Now it's air 3, right? As it is, I don't think... I think Vision Quest is pretty good for where it's at, but I don't think Vision Trance is as strong as it should be for what it costs, what it potentially loses you, and what it gives you. Like, eh. Anyways, again, I'm spending more time talking about that than I should be. we're just moving a few people around. We're moving people from Zox to Esquania for some site searching. We are moving people into Zaburia to reinforce there. We talked about this previously, bringing more Chacoan Star Priests to the forefront there, so that we would have the ability to... You know what, am I... A good point. Do I need them to search? I don't need them. Or I don't need them to research this. So we're actually going to send these, like I said, right? They could potentially Moss Body. We're going to send them along over here. They could join up and either fluff a Wuya, or they could actually like sit in the front line, and we could do like a hold, and they could get a couple of... They're not going to get very many, right? But if they get like 2 or 3 casts off on some Katsinas, what? 2 casts is 4 Katsinas, 3 casts would be 6 Katsinas. So if they are both casting on Katsinas, then they might be able to hit, you know, between 8 and... Am I doing my math wrong? Yeah, between 8 and 12 Katsinas. I just blanked there for a second. Yeah, between 8 and 12 Katsinas, which is, you know, it's it's a third of our forces, right? So a third of our forces having additional protection is not bad. It's not going to be very good because, again, Moss Body is only really... It's really, really effective if you have high protection. So it's not going to be super effective for Katsinas. But it will be super effective for Wuyas, for fluffing Wuyas. So we can send a Jade Sorceress out to fluff a Wuya, and that'll be pretty good. Right. What else are we doing? Really, it's mostly just forging and researching. We're letting Ind make the first move, and then we're going to respond by having access to Alteration 3. Again, Iron Skin on, for example, our God, right? That's going to be a decent amount of protection increase. Really, it's only 2. But 2 protection puts him up to a base of 27, and then his Berserker going off puts him at, what's that, 34? 34? Holy shit. Yeah, that's correct. 34 protection. He'll have very, very high attack skill at that point. He'll have a very high likelihood of repelling, etc., etc. And also, right, so that's just for our God. For our Wuyas, though, it's a similar scenario. That's the other thing about this turn is we're kind of stacking gear, and we're awaiting for our item deliveries from Erythia. So next turn we're getting more than just this, but specifically next turn I believe we're getting 2 Firebrands, a Scutado Volturnus, and 2 Armor of the Knights, right? Those items, when combined with what we already have, are going to make for very high protection, very hard to hit, or really wound Wuyas, right? You're gonna have to get through their repel, right? Because they're going to have stone birds. They're going to have high attack skill. You're going to have to get through their high protection. You're going to have to get through their vine shield. You're going to have to get through... or when you get through all those things, when a hit actually does happen, then you're going to have to actually... you know, hurt them through Temper Flesh. Then they have regeneration for that Temper Flesh. Depending on the people, right? There's going to be luck involved in preventing them from dying, or if you have the Scutado Volturnus, right? You're going to have counterattacks, shocking counterattacks. Ultimately, we will have some Boots of the Messenger to throw into the mix as well, but I think generally speaking, this is going to be a pretty good setup for our our scenario, right? So I'm pretty excited to see how this turns out. This turn is basically trying to fill this out, right? So we can see we're gonna have plenty of weapons, right? We're gonna be low on armors, semi-low on shields. We're pretty good on burning pearls. We're pretty good on helmets. We need some more boots, right? Because we're not getting Boots of the Messenger for another turn. So that's gonna wait. And we need some stone burns. So that's pretty much where our focus is. We're creating 1, 2, 3 stone birds this turn. We're doing 1, 2 Kithrionic lion pelts because those are gonna be decent alternatives to the armor of knights, right? Kithrionic lion pelts, etc., etc. Decent body protection. Not great, not fantastic, but what we're at right now is 10. So +5 is pretty good. So that should be pretty all right. Doing some boots of long strides, which are these right here, just to have them as an addition, so that we can try to maneuver around. And I think that's mostly it. We're building a temple up here in Ablak. I talked about this previously, right? This is where a lot of our gold is going this turn. Between recruiting a new Wuya, between the temple, and then base mage recruitment and everything like that. That's pretty much where the majority of our gold is going this turn. And that's because we want to be able to press our Dominion up here, use our God in defense. Our God is a very strong tool for us. The only real response that Ind might have is Soulslay. So that's another reason, right, why I'm being hesitant. And I'm not, because I thought about this, right, when I first saw the turn. I was like, ooh, let's just toss our God at Smacia on patrol, and I bet if he throws his army, that's just a dead army, right? That absolutely probably could be the case, unless he is bringing mage support. Now we have a scout here, and it's really just, this army consists mainly of soldier priests, so I'm anticipating that it's basically just going to be mostly an army, right? But we can't see a lot of where his shit is because of the way In's Dominion works, which is a pain in the ass. And while we can see some abbots over here, the sages and magi, magus, whatever. That doesn't guarantee that he doesn't have something here in Walden, or that he doesn't have something in Verdant Steppe, etc. Right? So there's no reason for us to take the risk of being that aggressive when we can just continue our research. And if he hits Smacia and he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna siege down Smacia, great, I'll just send a bear at him next turn, whatever, you know. Like if he attacks and I'm like, oh, that's legitimately if all he sends, if we go check him, and all he sends is a bunch of Mirror Guard, then I'll be like, okay, yeah, we can go kill that. You know, bear can kill. GG, right? And we'll just go do that. But otherwise, you know, there's no reason for us to instigate that fight if we don't have to. So. And I also considered, you know, we're sitting here in Zaburia with a pretty decent sized force. We could just toss ourselves at Ashington, but again, there's not really a reason to immediately rush that fight. We are moving here, so let's take some. And I need more. I'll need more mana. I feel very broke. Our fucking income is very high for what we are doing right now. I think that's pretty much it, honestly. Really a whole lot else happening this turn. Had some interesting battles to watch. Excited to see how things go. Again, we talked about this. Ind has access to some really good magics. If they are high up in research, this might go really poorly for us. But I think I feel relatively confident knowing Ind's troop makeup. So here's the thing. I think his troops beat the shit out of our base troops. And I've said this before, right? But I think our Katsinas will do well against his units. And I think our God and our Wuyas will do well against our units. And I think Small Communion's Mind Burning are also going to do pretty good against his units, right? And I think, actually, as long as we're fighting on our terms, our guys, I think, aren't the worst in the world. They have pretty good morale, especially if they're fighting with all of these bonuses, right? You know? Alright, that's going to be it for the turn. I think we will see how things... Oh, I need to... Do I want to go for Alt 4, or do I want to go for Conjuration? So, Alt 4 allows us to do things like Temper Flesh on our god outside of our territory. It also, and this is Durham, allows us to body Ethereal. I don't think... Body Ethereal is crazy good, but I don't think it's something that we super need to worry about when fighting Ind, because every unit is a priest in Ind. 90% of its units are sacred, right? And those units, we know his Bless already has magic weapons, so Body Ethereal doesn't really do much for us in that case. So I guess I want this, but I'm guessing it's not going to be super important for us yet. So what I would say is probably better to move up Conjuration. Getting something like, even something as simple as getting Summon Earth Power for the Reinvigoration is going to be pretty important. So let's do that. We'll pop into Conjuration. And that should be that. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye, everybody.